Good day, everyone. Today I am honored to present to you a very important topic in our Field Study 1 course. We are now in Unit 5, and under this unit, we will focus on one of its key components, which is the portfolio writing. I am Neumar Parwalim, and I will be your reporter for today. So let's begin our journey into understanding how we can effectively document our growth as future educators through portfolio writing. But before we dive deep into our topic, let me first introduce to you our learning objectives for today. So by the end of this session, you are expected to define portfolio writing based on the provided lecture notes. Second, construct a simple reflective statement using the what, so what, now what model. Then lastly, appreciate the value of reflective writing in your own professional growth and future teaching practice. These objectives will guide us throughout this presentation, so let's keep them in mind as we proceed. So, let's start with the most basic question. So, what is portfolio writing? So, portfolio writing is the process of organizing, documenting, and reflecting on your actual school and classroom observations. It serves as a bridge that connects the educational theories we learned in college, which are the professional education or prof ed, with the real teaching practices we observe in the field. But let me emphasize, portfolio writing is not just about compiling papers or photos. It is about creating a purposeful narrative of your professional growth. So now, let me clarify a common misconception. Portfolio writing is not just collecting artifacts. So, not just collecting but creating a narrative. Then it is not also a random folder of papers but a coherent story of growth. Not also unconnected artifacts but purposeful organization. And lastly, not a simple description but a deep reflection and analysis. A true portfolio is a coherent story of growth, and it is organized with purpose, and it includes deep reflection and analysis. So as Johnson, Mims Cox, and Doyle Nicole in 2013 emphasized, reflection serves as the glue that bonds the portfolio to its purpose. Without reflection, your portfolio is simply a collection of papers. With reflection, it becomes a powerful testament to your learning journey. Now let's talk about the essential parts of an FS1 portfolio or the Field Study 1 portfolio. So according to Johnson, Mims Cox, and Doyle Nichols in 2013, a well-structured portfolio contains these written components. First one is the cover page or the title page. This includes your professional name, portfolio title, date of submission, and institutional affiliation. The second one is table of contents. This provides a clear organization of sections with page numbers for easy navigation. Next one is introduction or executive summary. This states the purpose of the portfolio and gives an overview of its contents. Next one is vision and philosophy statement. This expresses your personal beliefs about teaching and learning, including your theoretical foundations and goals for school learning. Next one, standards and artifacts. This aligns your evidence with professional teaching standards. Each artifact must have a written explanation. Next one is reflective statement. This is perhaps the most critical part. It contains critical analysis connecting your artifacts to practice, demonstrating growth and learning, and connecting to theory and research. And the last one is the candidate document. So this includes your personal resume or CB certifications and professional development records. So these 7 parts work together to create a complete and meaningful portfolio. So there are different types of portfolio writing that you can include in your portfolio. Let me discuss 3 of them. So the first type is the reflective journal entry. So this reflective journal entry is regular writing about daily teaching experiences. For example, today was challenging. My students struggled with the math concept I taught. Then I realized my explanation was too abstract. Tomorrow, I will use concrete manipulatives. So that is reflective journal entry. Next type is the peer observation reflection. So peer observation reflection is written reflection after observing or being observed by a colleague. So, for example, I observed Lee's class and noticed how she used questioning and deepened student thinking. I want to incorporate more open-ended question in my lesson. So that is peer observation reflection. From the word peer, there is two-person in creating this type of reflection. Next is action research summary. So this is brief summary of a small classroom research project. For example, I tested whether daily free writing improved student confidence. After 6 weeks, student writing increased and anxiety decreased. I now include daily writing in my schedule. So as you can see, each type requires you to not just describe, but to reflect on your experience. Next one of the most important parts of your portfolio is your teaching philosophy statement. So this is 1 to 2 pages document that explains what you believe about how students learn, how you teach and why, and what goals you have for your students. So here is a simple template you can use. So I believe that students learn best when, so you will insert your belief. Then in my classroom, so you will describe your teaching approach. Then my goal is to help students, so you will state here your learning goals. Then I assess learning through, then you will describe your assessment methods that you use in your teaching. Then, I continue to grow as a teacher by, so of course, you will describe again your professional development. So, for example, for this, so I believe students learn best through active, hands-on activities. In my science classroom, I use inquiry-based learning where students ask questions, conduct experiments, and discover answers themselves. My goal is to develop curious, critical thinkers who can apply science in real life. So your philosophy statement is your professional identity in writing. So make it personal and also authentic. So now let's go to the heart of portfolio writing, which is reflective statements. So reflection means goes beyond describing what happened to analyzing why it happened. So what you learned and what you will do differently. So it To help us structure our reflection, you can use Rolfe's model or the what, so what, and now what. So the questions in Rolfe's model is what, so what, and now what. So what to write in what? So we have to describe the experience or artifact. The next one in so what, so we need to write what did you learn? Why does it matter? Then in now what, we need to write how will you change your practice. So this simple model ensures that your reflection is complete and uh, meaningful. So to further understanding reflection, let's compare what reflection is versus what is not. So non-reflective, we have non-reflective and reflective approach here in creating reflection. So we have this is my lesson plan. So instead of making this, we need to make this deeper like this. I redesigned this lesson because students struggled last time. Then we have another example. Students got good grades. So instead of making this non-reflective, so make this into deeper one like this. The assessment showed me the students understand concepts but need more practice with application. So as you can see, reflective statements explains the reasoning behind your actions and show growth in your thinking. Meanwhile, non-reflective statements only state what happened without analysis. Now, let me give you a practical guide on how to write effective portfolio reflections. So you can use these guiding questions for each episodes you observe. So, so we need this framework which is the OAR or the observe, analyze, reflect, and act. So first step is to observe. So what question that we expect for observe. So what did you actually see? So we need to write to is to describe the teacher's action and students' behavior objectively. Next step is to analyze. So the question for this is why did the teacher act that way? Then we need to write is to connect the child development of teaching theories. Then next is to reflect. Next step is to reflect. So the question for this reflect is how do you feel about it? So we need to write what personal values were challenged or confirmed. And lastly, act. How will you apply this? So how will you use this when you become a teacher? So this OAR framework or observe, analyze, and reflect and act will help you write reflections that are deep, meaningful, and connected to your future practice. So to help you to achieve a high score in portfolio, here are some important do's and don'ts in creating a portfolio. So we need to do is to write in first person, I learned. Then use specific examples, show growth and change, connect to theory and research, be honest about challenges, revise and edit your work. And for don'ts, be too formal or academic, make vague statements, only describe, not analyze, cite theory without explaining it, and only write about successes. And lastly, submit your first draft. Remember, your portfolio should be personal, honest and reflective. Don't be afraid to admit challenges. Showing how you overcome them demonstrate true professional growth. So as we end this session, let me quick summarize the key takeaways from our discussion for today. So portfolio writing again is a purposeful narrative for your personal growth. Not just collecting of papers. So a good portfolio includes essential parts like a philosophy statement and reflective statements. And next one is reflection. Reflection goes beyond description, so it analyzes why things happened and what you will do differently. So you will use also what, so what, now what model to structure your reflection. And lastly, be honest, specific, and show growth in your writing. So these are the core principle that will guide you in creating a meaningful and high quality portfolios. So that conclude our discussion or session for today. I hope that you gain something, and that's all. Bye bye.